Hey guys, Martin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and we are continuing with the guides for the new 10 stages of SBR that will be dropping on JP, and we're going to have a look at every single set. Usually has one that is a little bit easier, or like a sort of minor category. We had Peppy Gals, we had Ginyu Force, and now we have Team BARDOCK. So some of you might be thinking, why do we need a team building guide for this? It's literally a full free-to-play team that you can farm, and then you can jump into the stage. Duh. But whilst that is the case, and I do believe that the stage will be beatable by just using the full free-to-play team, when it drops on Global, I'll definitely do a video doing that. But if you want to give yourself a much easier time, that is not the best way to approach the event. So smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let us jump in and talk about the optimal team build, in my opinion. So obviously, we're going to be using the LR Team BARDOCK as the leader. I do think it's funny that this is being released as an SBR stage when they haven't even given out all of the copies of this card. So it's literally impossible to have them rainbow. So that definitely implies that the difficulty level of this stage is going to be fairly low, because it's designed for free-to-play cards, and you can't even get the free-to-play LR that leads the team to its maximum potential. So Team BARDOCK are pretty good. They greatly raise attack and do colossal damage on their 12 key, and then their 18 key is mega colossal and raises superclass allies attack by 30% for one turn. They give superclass allies attack and defense 30%, and then they give an additional attack and defense 30% for Team BARDOCK category allies. So obviously on this stage in particular for this build, that is going to be everyone. So they're going to be giving a nice support buff. So next up, we have the physical LR BARDOCK. So if you have the physical LR BARDOCK, I would argue even at 55%, he's going to be better than bringing the free-to-play BARDOCK. So he greatly raises attack and does colossal on his 12 key. He does mega colossal and seals on his 18 key. So obviously sealing is very, very useful in Super Battle Road. He also gets an additional attack buff when you're performing an Ultra Super. He gets 4 extra key when there's only one enemy. So when there's only one enemy left, you're going to very easily get his 18 key super. And he gets 60% extra defense when there are 2 or more enemies. So obviously at the start of the Super Battle Road stage, he's going to have a bunch of extra defense. He links super well with the LR Team BARDOCK as well. And of course, they're going to be giving him a 60% attack and defense buff. So that rotation is going to be very, very powerful. So he far outclasses the STR free-to-play one. So then we have the AGL Great Ape Tora. Because yes, remember, it's not just the free-to-play units on Team BARDOCK. All of the Great Ape versions of the Team BARDOCK members are on here as well. And Tora is very good because he's a support unit. He gives all allies 3 key and 30% attack. He recovers 6% HP up to 18% per giant form ally on the team. So even if he is the only one, that's still 6% HP at the start of the turn, which, you know, a little bit of extra HP is nice. And he does have the chance to transform into a Great Ape, which, whilst, you know, he's not going to be dealing crazy damage or anything like that, it gives you a couple of turns of free damage to work on one of the enemies, especially if one of the enemies is STR and you get lucky with the orb placement and can actually get consistent super attacks. You might be able to take out one of the enemies and you don't have to worry about taking any damage in the process. He also lowers attack on his super when he's untransformed, which is of course super useful for Super Battle Road. So he's definitely a unit that I would bring over one of the other free-to-play Team BARDOCK members if you have him. Then we have the Tech Tora, so the actual free-to-play farmable one. Double Toras on the team, and that's because he raises attack and defense on super attack, and he also is a support unit. He gives all allies 2 key and attack and defense 30%. He recovers 10% HP whenever HP is 70% or less if there are 5 or more low-class warriors on the team, which basically the whole team is. So he's going to get that as well. So nice little bit of healing and support. Technically, his support is better than the AGL Great Ape Tora, but he is another very solid unit. Both of them on the team as third slot floating support units is going to be very, very effective. So then we have the Int Farsha, the free-to-play one. I think she is worth using on the team, probably even more so than the Tora. Out of all of the free-to-play units, she probably is the best, because she has 90% defense and then a 50% chance to dodge, which is super good. She randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow if there is an ally whose name includes BARDOCK on the team, which of course there is. So yeah, creates rainbow orbs, makes it a little bit easier for people to super, can help out both the LRs or even, you know, if you are just running the free-to-play team, the LR leader. So she's very good. She also lowers attack on her super attack, so giving her a bunch of additional is really good. If you can get double supers off of her, she double lowers the enemy's attack, and then of course has a built-in chance to dodge all of their attacks. So she is very, very good. Then we have the Borgos. As you can see, if we look through, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my opinion, the optimal build for this team. The reason I picked Borgos over Shugesh is because he has a medium chance to stun on his super, which is obviously very good, and when there are 2 or more enemies, he launches a guaranteed additional super attack, so you have 2 chances to stun the enemy that you're attacking. And he has attack and defense 90%, which is fairly solid, and then he does get an extra 30% attack and defense when there is only 1 enemy left, so he's not going to get the extra super, but his stats are going to be a little bit better overall. So you could disagree about the last spot. I do think Borgos is better, but if we have a look, there's the Great Ape BARDOCK, the free-to-play one. He actually is a pretty good pick for the team as well. Now, if you've done the Freezer Prime Battle Easy A, you had to rainbow this guy, so you probably have this guy done already. He raises attack and defense on super, which is good. 3 key and attack and defense 77%, which is solid. He gets an additional 77% attack when facing 2 or more enemies, and then an additional 3 key and 77% attack when there's a Wicked Bloodline enemy. So we don't know what the enemies for the stages are going to be, but if there are a lot of Wicked Bloodline enemies, or even if there's just the one fight with Wicked Bloodline enemies, to be fair, this BARDOCK definitely would be useful and could easily be used over, say, one of the Tauras. I do think the Borgos is maybe slightly better just because he has that stun utility, but of course this guy is a giant ape unit as well, so just like the Taura that we already talked about, you have the potential to get the transformation and get a couple of turns of extra free damage. So then we have the free-to-play Shugesh. He's definitely worth mentioning because he does have some interesting synergy with the rest of the team, depending on who you choose to bring. So he raises defense on super attack, and then he gets attack and defense 90%, very similar to some of the others. He gets a guaranteed crit when the target enemy is stunned, so obviously he works well if you're using Borgos on the team. And then he stuns the enemy when the enemy is sealed, so obviously works well alongside the BARDOCK as well. So depending on how you want to build your team, he definitely gets a nice little bit of utility. I don't know if, like, his value is pretty much cut in half if you're not running Borgos because nobody else can stun. So very much dependent on how you want to build your team. But of course, if you're running the full free-to-play version, he's going to be very, very good. So going back to the list, obviously we didn't talk about the free-to-play BARDOCK just because the LR is so much better. But if you don't have the LR, he is still worth using because he does seal on his super attack. He is a nuking type unit, so he gets 18% attack per key sphere obtained. He reduces damage received by 10% per team BARDOCK category ally on the team up to 50%. So obviously on this team build, that's going to be 50%. But remember, when it comes to units like the AGL Zamasu and things like that, he has damage reduction, but he doesn't have any defense. So, you know, if he gets hit with a super attack, especially with type disadvantage, he is still going to take quite a lot of damage. So the LR definitely outclasses him in every way, but if you don't have the LR, then he is definitely better than some of the other options. But I didn't really talk about many of the other Great Ape units because unfortunately none of them are really that good. The Shugesh can be okay because he gives all allies a little bit of extra attack and defense, but it's only 7,000. And then he gets extra defense per giant form ally, so it depends how many of the Great Ape BARDOCK or team units you're going to bring. If you're bringing the AGL Taura and maybe even the AGL BARDOCK, then maybe this guy could be useful because he is going to have a bunch of extra defense and he is giving everybody else extra defense, but it's just not a huge amount, so it's not really worth it. And then I think there is, this guy is from the World Tournament, so technically you could use him instead of the LR or the STR one. I mean, with the same name update, obviously you could use him anyway, but there are just better options, because all this guy does is give AGL and STR types key to an attack 30, so no defense, which means he has no defense. He's a super old World Tournament unit. He's one of the, you know, early World Tournament units that really needs an easy A if he's going to compete in current level events. So Everybody else, there's not really much point mentioning them because they don't really do anything. Like if we look at the Great Ape Farsha, she just changes int orbs to STR, has 30% attack and defense, which really isn't all that great. And then the Great Ape Borgos, I actually can't remember what he does. He's a nuking style unit as well. He also gets an additional attack defense per... Oh, it's per orb obtained depending on how many giants are on the team. So the more giant form units on the team, the more buff he gets per orbs. But as a nuking style unit that has no other stat bonuses, if you get any turns where you can only pick up like 1 or 2 orbs with him, then yeah, he will get absolutely destroyed. So whilst the category is incredibly small and there's not a ton of options, I think this one that I've laid out here is definitely much better than just running the full free-to-play version of the team. Like I said, the full free-to-play version of the team will be able to get it done, but it'll be much easier if you bring some of these units like the Physical LR and like the AGL Great Ape Tora. Other than that, I guess the team would mostly be made up of the free-to-play guys. Great Ape Bardock is definitely a good substitute as well if you don't want to bring Tora or the Tech Tora, if you don't want to have too many support units. That's understandable. I do think the Toras are good enough with their support and the fact that they heal to warrant a place on the team. But yeah, there's a couple of different ways you can fit this together. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you going to try it out with the full free-to-play team, or are you going to make some substitutes? I think for the no items run, maybe it could be done with the full free-to-play team, but I feel like you'd have to get pretty lucky with like the dodges, and maybe having some link levels thrown into them would be pretty good. I have actually link leveled the LR, and I'm working on the physical LR Bardock because I just like Team Bardock in general. Most of you guys will know that unless you're new to the channel. So I'm definitely going to be ready for this one. But let me know what your guys are planning to do for this particular stage, and let us know your team build in the comments down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.